Hey Hawks, thanks for tuning in to the El Dorado podcast. Just a reminder that you can find our Hawk Talk episodes on YouTube at EDHS Video Production, with more fun content on our Instagram at EDHS_Hawk Talk. And obviously this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other streaming platforms where you would regularly find podcasts. Enjoy another wonderful episode from El Dorado.
What's up, El Dorado? I'm your host, Jaden Lum, and I'm here with Mr. C, Coach Lamonda, Brenna Monzo, and Mia DeMonte. And today we're going to be talking about a different few perspectives of the Bell game as well as the history behind it. Could you guys just go ahead and introduce yourselves?
This is Aaron Camposano. A lot of kids call me Mr. C. I'm the Dean of Good Times here at El Dorado, also known as our Activities Director. I'm lucky enough to get to work with all the students and the staff here at El Dorado, and I call myself the luckiest guy at the greatest school on earth.
That's the sweetest thing ever. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Coach Lamonda. I am the head football coach, head track coach. I teach, and I'm the attendance director.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenna Monzo. I'm a junior here at El Dorado, and I'm involved in varsity song, ASB, mock trial, and several clubs.
Hey guys, I'm Mia DeMonte, and I'm currently a junior. I'm involved in ASB, mock trial, and soccer.
So this section is directed towards you, Mr. C, and we're just kind of going to talk about the history of the Bell game and the Ramos family and how it originated and why it's so important to Orange County and El Dorado. Is there any history between Valencia and El Dorado specifically?
I think the one ironic piece has nothing to do with football is that El Dorado is on Valencia Avenue and Tuffrey is on Kramer Boulevard. So it's really cool how we're actually connected geographically, with those streets. It's kind of neat. I'm not sure at some point, so every kid at El Dorado is going to figure that out, who's ever been at Tuffrey and El Dorado. And then history-wise, Valencia's been around forever. They have so much rich tradition, and they're a school that a lot of us can look to for building tradition and school culture and pride in the community. And so I think that's what both schools do really well. So I think history-wise, they've got us on that, that's for sure. They've got a lot of schools because, if I'm not mistaken, they've been around for almost 100 years. And so it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Do you know why Valencia is our rival school? Is it just because of location or?
Rival is a good term. It's probably a loose-fitting term for this, but I think the rivalry is when you have two teams that compete and one wins this year, one wins the next year in sports, right? So you have Lakers and Celtics. I wish our Angels were better and they might see the Dodgers more in the World Series, and that would be a great rivalry. And I think what's really good about it is, for the most part, it's been on the field. The teams competing and the coaches going after it and stuff has all been on the field. And I think outside of it, you see Placentia as the community coming together and celebrating at Bradford Stadium. It's really fun. It's really cool.
So you mentioned the Bell game. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about, the history behind that and why that's something so special to El Dorado? Because I know it's something that's not just here in Orange County, but before I moved here, I actually had no clue what that was.
What the Bell game was?
Yeah.
Well, this is totally personal. There are people in our community that really raise the bar of this game to make it mean more than it actually does. Because in the big picture, scoreboard, great. One team's going to win, the other team's going to lose, and they're both going to move on. I think the biggest piece of what the Bell game means is bringing an entire community together, and I think that's what Dave Ramos and his family have done by introducing the Bell to us. But I think at El Dorado, we know it's just another football game. Of course, we celebrate it. We do posters and we have T-shirts and things, and it's really, really fun. But I don't think at the end of the day, our culture or our spirit is going to stop because we didn't win a football game. So I think with the history of that game, building it into this huge community, there's a big part of it that a lot of people love. And sorry if I'm being a little too ambiguous, but it's not the end all, right? But it is a massive community event, and there's other Bells. I know Fountain Valley versus Edison is another Bell game. They have a big rivalry there as well. So it's great. So don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, we want everybody to be healthy coming off that field and going into the next week.
I know you mentioned Dave Ramos. I know he has a lot of family connections that lived here. He grew up here. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I got to meet Dave a few times, and his family probably doesn't remember me, but we've shooken hands over the years, at the Bell game and stuff. But what Dave has done and what his family's done and what it means to me is it just redefines what we've already talked about. You have somebody that cares so much about the community and what he saw that could happen at El Dorado and Valencia, celebrating the belle of the city and following through and saying, I'm going to do something about this to make Placentia a place that, everybody hears about and knows about because of the bell game. That's what we all want to do. We all want to take these moments where we have these great ideas and thoughts and then follow through on them. And that's what him and his family has done. And now we get to celebrate them at every bell game. We get to watch the athletic directors walk out with the bell, with the family. We hear their story, and we get to hear the reminder about what the Ramos family means and what they've done. So they are like a pivotal brick in the foundation of what the city of Placentia is all about. And both Valencia and El Dorado, we get to share in that.
And it's so beautiful to see, just the bond and the growth when I hear their family history and, the generations that all go to Orange County schools. It's so beautiful to listen to.
Yeah, it's cool. They take a lot of pride in that. I think we all do. So there's something to learn from that and taking pride in your school and your city. And, it's the little things that we talk about, picking up trash, holding the door open for somebody and stuff. And we do that a lot here at El Dorado. And they're a perfect reminder of what it means to be, good people.
Yeah. I feel like that's been brought up, so much whenever talking about the bell game. It's just been a very big eye-opener to how much El Dorado is this big community and this big family, regardless of wherever we're coming from.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good to hear. We want to hear that. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, 3 of Dave Ramos's children actually graduated from PYLUSD. So one of his children named Robert was a standout basketball player that was actually ASB president in the early 80s. And he had a daughter who went to Valencia and sadly passed away at a very young age. Dave was just someone who, was the definition of Hawk pride. And he really went down deep with it and had grandchildren who attended Brea High School in Yorba Linda. And, it's someone who was full of energy and always ready to support his family. And I wanted to kind of just make this episode so that not only are we aware and promoting the awesome bell game that's on Friday, but we also kind of spread the history of someone who played such a pivotal role in El Dorado's history and created this tradition that will continue to run on for years and years from now. So what does the bell, whenever we bring it home, what does the bell symbolize to you?
That bell symbolizes pretty much what every football player, number one, at El Dorado has worked for. I think a lot of us take for granted what football players do, and they practice a lot. They practice in the heat. They have to stay mentally focused. They have to learn their plays and so forth, and they have a weight room and summer practices and so forth. And then to build up to this game and to bring that bell home and win that game, I think they take a lot of pride in that, and we do too. So I think, number one, our football team, if they bring that bell back, we're going to celebrate that with them and take pride in that with them. And I think every kid up in the stands, every kid on the sidelines, every kid on the grass behind the scoreboard, rooting and hooting and hollering for the black and the gold, we all take pride in that. We all want to see our football team succeed. But I think the biggest thing I take out of it is seeing what our school can do together. You and I right now are talking about El Dorado, and maybe we'd never have this conversation if it wasn't for the bell game, right? And I think that's awesome. It brings people together, and we want to see our sidelines full of teachers, full of our staff. We want to see the stands with our band and color guard and cheer and song and everybody, the Hawk's Nest. It's so fun. And then Hawk Talk, you guys in your big cameras running around the sidelines. It just brings us all together. So to have the bell come back, it's just awesome to see it every day and have a reminder of what we get to do again together next year for the Nest.
For me, being here for 9 years now, it kind of reminds me of many other rival games that I've been a part of as a player and as a coach. This one's a little different because it's 2 high schools within the same city. So it's kind of not just a normal rivalry. It's, a city rivalry. In some aspects, the city kind of shuts down. We get a police and fire escort over to the stadium. It's big for the kids, and that's really what it comes down to. The ability for a year to kind of have that edge on Valencia in the event that we win. And we've been fortunate the last couple of years to do it. So it's not just important for me. It's important for the kids, the players now, the players that will be coming, the players that graduated years before, the teachers, the staff, and kind of everyone involved. So it's kind of encompass them, but it's important to us as a football program to make sure we continue to keep the bell here at home.
I fully agree with that. Now, talking about students that, come and go due to age, with seniors that have left and incoming freshmen and incoming new varsity players, how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
We still got a couple days left of practice. We've had a really good week of practice last couple weeks, including this week. Our schedule's a little bit different this year. I tried to get some tougher opponents to prepare us for the long haul. Our ultimate goal here is to, not go 5-0 in our preseason. We want to win a league championship and potentially win a CIF championship. And I think our schedule has better prepared us for a long run, and we played well our first game. Our second game, we kind of had a hiccup. Even though we lost last week, we got better. And so far, this has been the best week of practice. So, I'd like to say that, we're going to go out and win and we're going to try our best. But, this is a really good Valencia team. And, we still got a couple days to prepare and hopefully execute on Friday night and keep the bell at home.
I appreciate the sportsmanship. So talking about, your different schedule this year and all the work that you guys put in, is there something that, you think that the football team does that you don't think most students think about?
I don't know about what we do that's different, right? My main focus is kind of the little things. How they are on campus, how they are off campus, how they are in the classroom. Academically speaking, last year we were fortunate enough to win the title of having the highest GPA, and I worry mostly about the little things and making them, better, more responsible people. And I truly believe that doing all the things off the field is product that happens on the field as a result of a lot of those things. So I don't know if it's anything different that's, the magic drop of a dime. We just work hard. We go out. We're there for one another, and we legitimately care. Or I should say they do. I know us coaches care about them, but they care about one another. And, it's important to building a team and the camaraderie and have the environment that we do is you got to trust one another. You got to have fun. Also, the piece I kind of reminded them last week, this is a game. It's a sport. It's supposed to be fun, But this game kind of takes it to another level. It's only fun when you win. So, we want to try to get back on that winning side again this season.
And I think that's so important because there's such this big stereotype behind specifically popular sports where, their main focus is they're not student athletes, but they're athletes first. And so I think the importance that football holds on their athletes to be students as well is really moving and inspiring for a lot of different high schools around Orange County that can actually learn from that as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but us as a coaching staff, we're trying to prepare them for real life. Most of the kids are not going to play football past El Dorado. That's not just here, it's everywhere. It's teaching them the life lessons. When am I ever going to use this? Whatever, graphing. It's not so much the graphing maybe. It's understanding a 3, 4, 5-step process that you might have to use a new process 10 years from now, becoming a sales manager. Go home and provide a roof and food on the table for your family. I was just trying to teach them life lessons to make life easier. We try to make practice more difficult so the game's easier. And that's our main goal as a head football coach, is not to get them to play Division I football. That's a byproduct of their hard work in the classroom and on the field and off the field. But our job is to prepare them for life. And if they can make it through 4 years of football, maintaining a GPA and working hard, I think we've better prepared them for years after high school, that kind of transition period of, okay, I'm in high school, and now I'm the low man on the totem pole with a little more freedom in college, and, preparing them for, young adulthood, mine at least.
How would you say that these football players, there's obviously so many of them, it's one of the largest sports. How would you say that they all bond, so that they really work together on the field?
It's a hard kind of gauging between, having fun and working hard. I think it's through the adversity and through the toughness, of off season. I mean, we start training pretty much at the end of the season. We really start focusing, February, March. And we lift for 3 months, and then we go into spring football before graduation, and we come back for 3 weeks of summer camp and 2 weeks of, Hell Week, where we're in full pads and going every day. And, so it's kind of from the running, and we have some fun events. We've had pool days, we've had other stuff like that. It's a hard mix as a head coach to try to get them to come together. But I've been fortunate enough the last 2, 3, 4 years of having a good group of kids. Unfortunately, COVID hit, 3, 4 years ago, But I actually think that brought us together. Not having a season in the fall season and coming together and playing that weird spring season. This is the senior class that it was, so they're kind of forced into navigating the world, which was crazy, which has kind of helped them have fun with one another, bond and grow those relationships. And now it's just kind of getting those underclassmen, the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors to understand that reality is they're here to support those seniors. And that's what it is year in and year out, because next year the juniors are going to rely on, the sophomores and the years behind them and eighth graders right now. So it's building those relationships are hard, and it's one of the main focuses they do in the off season, but usually it's through hard work, grit, toughness. The extra running that we do or lifting, them all doing it together is usually what kind of builds that camaraderie.
Starting to imagine what a football teamed pool day looks like, and I don't know.
It's some coaches want to do it as kind of a workout, like kind of jump around. I just open up the pool and they go have fun. Jump in and they'll do chicken fights where one will go on their shoulders in the shallow end. Some will just, chill in a corner and relax, because it's always after practice. They'll do races, they'll do cannonballs and do jumps and twists off the side or the little diving boards that they have. So it's kind of collective group of chaos, but I like to call it organized chaos. The coaches out there watching and play some music for them. And really, it's fun. After a hot day, hot practice, there's a good mix of all of it.
Which is very understandable. So heading back towards the bell game, what makes this football game so different and important from the rest besides bringing the bell home?
Kind of like I said earlier, it's the involvement of everyone. Almost every school out there has a rival. Sometimes they're one-sided, sometimes they're not. This is going to be the 51st playing of the game. It's 26-24, with Valencia being ahead in the overall standings. And, it's something that we talk about all the time. These are stories that alumni from previous years talk about. So we have a lot of brothers or siblings or relatives in the football program right now in the lower levels who have had older brothers or nephews or cousins come through here. So them talking about it is one of the things that kind of makes it more important, but it's really kind of setting a precedence, in my opinion, of where we're at and kind of where we've come from. When I took over 9 years ago, I think the football program had won 3 varsity games in 4 years. It's kind of showing that we're trending in the right direction, and if you want to have success, you kind of build on something for a season. I think rival games are very important on both sides, and that's why we put a lot of stake in this game for us, for the players, so when they come back and have conversations, they can say, hey, we've won. And, this senior class, has the potential of, I'd have to go back and look, but if we win on Friday night, which is the hope and the plan, is they would have beaten Valencia all 4 years. So, call it the freshman games, the mini bell game, or whatever you want to call it. This should be a 4-year class that could, and that's the plan, to go out Friday night and execute to win.
The bell game is probably, I've agreed on it with a couple other students, the most popular football game for El Dorado regarding the amount of students that come. Seats get full. My freshman year, I was sitting on the stairs because I got too late. So we obviously have a very known reputation for being a very loud and enthusiastic student section. Would you say that pushes the football team sometimes?
I don't know about pushes. I can tell you this, that I truly believe that home football games is a competitive advantage, especially with the fans, the student section, the band, the crowd, the cheer, everyone involved that's outside the confines of the football field. I truly believe that there is a home field advantage in high school, especially for us. I've been to some schools before where, we've been on the road and it's been a home game and we still have more people there than they do. In some scenarios, in high school, it's not an advantage. For us, it is. The bell game's kind of unique because you'll pack the stands no matter what. So I definitely think that having the crowd, everyone from band to cheer and stands and parents, ex-players, students, it's an advantage to us. I have a very weird thing. I don't hear most of the stuff. I'm able to block most of it out, and part of it is because I have a headset on, so I only have one ear listening, but most of it always on the field. I don't hear most of that stuff. Occasionally I'll do, or coach will chirp in my ear, but I know it's loud. You can feel it, and I definitely think it's an advantage for us, and hopefully it'll be an advantage on Friday night to where visiting side, my anticipation is to be louder and more involved than the home side.
Yeah, and I think from a student's perspective, it also just it really brings us together as a family, especially with cheer and band. I was at an away game recently, and I just realized that we don't do the rain dance at away games because band isn't there. And it's just putting those dots together that everyone being there is something that's so important for every single aspect.
I agree. I think that the next level of moving forward is getting that same environment from a home game to every game. And kind of my push this year, next couple of years, is to get that environment for a home lacrosse game or a home baseball game or a home basketball game and have the football players involved. Because right now, obviously, the football players are on the field and we're not involved in the stands or the student section. Obviously, they're playing, but there's still a bunch of other student athletes that are up there from different sports and other students. And I think it's our time in the winter and even in the spring to go to other sporting events and bring that there. It's kind of the role that we play, but I definitely think that that's the involvement of El Dorado football and student section, everyone involved, is to take that on the road and to take that to other sports as well.
That's really sweet. That shows a lot about Eldo's just community in general.
We need one another. We can say every analogy you want, everyone's in the nest, all this other stuff, but we are only as good as all the athletes that we have. We're not a private school where we recruit or attract athletes just to play one sport. And even in those environments, they still have those kids go support other student athletes and cheer and holler and all their stuff. And I think that that's where we need to go to kind of take ourselves to another level for all sports.
So what is your favorite memory from a previous ball game?
I got to say, there's been a lot of them. Last year, I think, was kind of the crazy one where it was pouring down rain, coming from different sides, kind of flooding, praying that we'd get the game done with before lightning hits because I didn't want to stay there till midnight. That whole thing of going on and just having it pour down rain. Being an ex-offensive lineman, we kind of train and kind of love those weird games, rain, snow, sleet, mud, but just the whole environment last year, being home, having to be loud and crazy, and it's still packed, still not obnoxiously loud, it's awesomely loud. While it's pouring down rain, it was something that I probably won't forget, and there's a couple memorable pictures I have from that game that were sent to me. So, that one right now stands out. Who knows, there might be another one from this week that might stand out as well, too.
Mine was definitely last year. I was in charge of Spirit last year for ASB, so I got to sit in the front and kind of watch it all unfold. But last year's bell game was really special because of the rain, and I think that rain brought a lot of energy into the crowd, and I remember blowing into the mic to start to cheer, and everyone was just screaming, and I heard from Valencia's side that they could hear us perfectly, and I think that the energy was just really unmatched, and it was really fun to watch unfold.
I agree. I think the energy is definitely unmatched, and obviously I have a different perspective on bell game as I'm cheering on the sidelines and I can't really sit in student section. So I think it's just a really great way to see everyone come together, and I love being down on the sidelines because I get to look up at student section and I get to see everyone getting super excited and super hyped. And honestly, it kind of makes me wish I was in student section just because of how energetic and how much fun it looks like everybody's having.
Right, so obviously you have a different perspective than most students, so would you say that the student section ever actually motivates the song team, to do well or to keep performing?
Definitely. I think bell game, that's the game that draws the most attention, and we obviously have a ton of people going, and I feel like when there's more people and stuff like that, there's obviously more people cheering for song as we dance, and I think it just really motivates the team to get hype and keep hitting those dances hard. So it's a lot of fun.
So as we were talking about energy, what energy would you guys say that you feel come from the student section during this game specifically?
I kind of feel a competitive energy, obviously, because it's our rival school. So obviously everyone on our side wants to win, especially for this game, because everyone wants to bring home the bell. So I always think that when people are more competitive, they get more rowdy and energetic, which helps hype up the game.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mia. This game specifically, the energy, it's just over the top, and like Mia was saying, there's definitely this competitive aspect which makes it a lot of fun, you know what I mean? And especially that want to keep the bell in, the Hawks' possession.
Obviously, we've all seen that there are lots of student sections out there, and Eldo is known for their student section. What would you say makes the Hawks' Nest so special and so different from all the other high schools out there?
Something that I love that, a lot of other student sections don't have is like our push-up board. Obviously, I feel like that's such a like traditional like El Dorado thing, and like we're known for it, I feel like, in a way. And I feel like it's just a really fun way to like get people in student section like involved kind of within the game, you know what I mean? And you can have like literally anybody, like a teacher, a sibling, a student, like anyone can just volunteer and go up on the push board anytime that we score a touchdown.
For me, I think what makes us like stand out is the fact that like everyone's all in. I'm using the little saying, but like everyone's all in, and they're not just giving like 50% or like barely cheering. Like when you're cheering, you're screaming your lungs out, and like everyone's giving their like 100% like focus to the game and to the crowd.
Yeah, cheer or go sit with your mom.
Yup. Okay, so I feel like, personally speaking, at least for me, this whole school year has felt so different just because I'm an upperclassman. Would you guys agree that, like, I don't know, it feels different cheering for football games now? Like, I'm so much more, like, just down to do whatever at football games because I feel like I'm leaving so soon compared to, like, my freshman or sophomore year where I was obviously very involved and very ready, to support the football team. But I feel like this year there's just so much more of a family aspect in the nest. How would you guys say that you feel?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like since we were at school with like the previous like seniors that graduated, like we see how fast the time goes, and that makes us want to like make the most out of every moment, and really like you get what you put into it. So if you're putting in like all of your energy, you're gonna get a lot of fun memories as the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like putting in all the like hard work and everything like that, and really like just being all in general. It just like it'll make you look back and reflect on your years in high school and stuff like that. And I feel like no one wants to leave high school like thinking like, wow, like I should have done more or something like that. I feel like high school, like depending on different people's perspectives, some people say they love it, some say they hate it. And I feel like the people that usually say like they hated high school, it's because they weren't involved. And I feel like you shouldn't want to leave high school like with the regrets of not going to games and not cheering and not getting loud. And yeah.
I agree. Football games are definitely a key part of high school. I don't think I would have half as much fun I do at El Dorado if it wasn't for the nest. I would definitely recommend for underclassmen to get started now, just so that you don't ever have to worry about that feeling of regret that you didn't participate or you didn't at least try. Being able to find what you're interested in, especially in high school when you're developing, is so important.
Definitely.
Agreed.
So, last question for you guys. Is the Bell game your favorite game of the year? And if so, why would you say so?
Yes, I would definitely say it's my favorite because we get the biggest crowd. So, I mean, seeing it from not necessarily like the bleachers, but like staying in the front row and looking up and seeing how filled the nest is and how everyone's like unified with the same colors on and cheering on the same team is just really fun, and that's why it makes it my favorite.
Yeah, the Bell game is definitely my favorite game too. I just feel like Mia was saying, like it's so awesome to see how many people come out for the Bell game to the point where the entire away side is like just packed with people, and there's people literally sitting on the stairs. Like I feel like that's just insane to think like, our school, like we have so much spirit and like so many people are showing up, you know what I mean, just to support our football team and to just really have a good time.
So the Bell game is this Friday night, September 8th at Bradford Stadium. We are the road team, so we'll be on the away side. The game starts at 7 o'clock sharp, and hopefully we'll see everybody there.
For tickets to the Bell game, everything on our campus, you can use your phone and use the QR codes. There's 4 to 5 big posters that are out on the windows in front of attendance and finance. So scan the QR code. For visiting students with ASB, it's $5. Click that one and get the cheapest ticket possible. Get there early to Bradford and then get in the nest. And it's a city of gold. And so wear all the gold you can. You got your Kobe Laker jersey. That would work well. So wear all the gold you can. We hope that all the parents, from sideline to sideline, everybody's in gold. We really want to, show off the pride in that. So yeah, tickets are on sale right now. You can also buy them at the gate, but I don't suggest that. There's going to be long lines. Get your tickets early, get there early, and, let's get up there and do everything we can for the nest, and Spirit never sleeps. It's time to go. I hope to see you at Bradford Stadium, and on the count of 3, say, "Go Hawks" with me. If you're out there, even if you're driving a car or in the classroom, say it with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Go Hawks!
As you've heard, this wraps up our episode. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, guys, and thank you, Hawks, for tuning in on another episode from the Eldorado Podcast. Bye!
Thank you for tuning into the Hawk Talk Podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or on Buzzsprout. Come back for the next episode where we will be just as amazing.